Hi everyone. In today's video, we will know about the AWS Cloud Trail. So what is AWS Cloud Trail, why we use, what are the benefits and use cases and the features. Let's move to agenda and see one by one. In this video, we will learn what is AWS Cloud Trail, AWS Cloud Trail benefits, how AWS Cloud Trail works and key features, what are the use cases and log events in AWS Cloud Trail, and what are the advantages and disadvantages. Let's see one by one. AWS Cloud Trail. AWS, with the help of a tool called Cloud Trail, it's offered by Amazon Web Services. You can keep track of the document activities that take place inside your AWS infrastructure. So it's a Cloud Trail is offered by AWS services. You can keep track the documents activities which are placed inside the AWS infrastructure, and also it gives you a throughout event history of every activity users, services and resources took while using your AWS account. So while someone using your AWS account, you can see the event every activities of the user's history, and also it records and logs every API call made on your AWS account and capturing details such as the identity of the API caller, time of the API call, the source IP addresses, the request parameters and the response element returned by the AWS services. So this is about the Cloud Trail. So let's see. Cloud provide what are all the Cloud Trails provides you to record the events. So let's see. The Cloud Trail provides 3 ways to record the events. First one is event history and the Cloud Trail Lake and the trials. So let's see one by one. Event history. So in your AWS account, so I will show you in the demo pod. In our AWS account, Cloud Trail activated by default. You have immediate access to Cloud Trail event history. You can easily viewable, searchable and printable and immutable records of these last 90 days, means last 3 months. You can see the history of all the Cloud Trails, and it's a management events in the AWS region is available in the event history. This can be a management consoles and command line interface and AWS software development kits and API are all used to perform the activities that in the event records. So in this event history, you can easily watch the event history of the cloud you have used in the AWS consoles. The next is Cloud Trail Lake, a managed data lake called AWS Cloud Trail Lake. It's used to record, store, access and analyze the API activities on the AWS for audit and security reasons, and existing events in a row-based JSON format that can be converted into the Cloud Trail Lake, and it can be easily storage format called ORCs designed to quick data retrieval, and event data stores which are immutable collection of events based on the criteria you choose by using the event selectors. And you can existing new event data store from your S3 buckets, and you can see the lake dashboards, and also on the top of the Cloud Trail event trends. So creating the event data storage and working with the AWS Cloud Trail. So in this Cloud Trail, you may easily record, store and access, analyze the API activities. The next is trials. So in addition to delivering and storing the events in Amazon S3 buckets, Trail can also deliver the events on Amazon CloudWatch logs and the Amazon Event Bridge. This occurrence can be entered into your security monitoring programs. You may also search, examine your Cloud Trails logs using custom third-party programs or programs like Amazon. So in these trials, it's a delivering and storage events of the S3 buckets. Trials can deliver the events on the Amazon CloudWatch. So your Amazon CloudWatch, you can deliver the event with the help of Cloud Trail. It's like a bridge. So you can usually custom the third-party programs in the Amazon. So this is the Cloud Trail provides you to record the events. So using the AWS organization, you can build the trials for a single AWS account or for a number of AWS accounts. So you can convert it into single account or can be number of AWS accounts. So let's move to the AWS Cloud Trail architecture. Here we can see so the Cloud Trail architecture. So this is the AWS account. There is an activity and API In this activity, it contains the command line interface and software development kit and the AWS management console. So using the management console, you can log into your AWS account. After logging, you can activate the API. So then it contains the command line interfaces and software development kit. So in this AWS account, it can pass through the AWS Cloud Trail. So using this account, you can go to the services, that is AWS Cloud Trail. Using this Cloud Trail, there is a number of event logs. So in it can store the S3 buckets, and also it send the notification to SNS. So here we can see, so AWS account is created. So here we can see AWS account is created in the AWS environment. And when a new account is created, when the new account is created, Cloud Trail is activated and API call is made in the backend. So here we can see AWS account is created, then API call is made in the backend. So API is work in the backend. Whenever we carry out any operation using the AWS account, such as signing, creating or deleting the instances, or creating S3 buckets, or using the Lambda functions or API gateways more than, so what are all you using, is uploading data into the API. So first we need to create the AWS account. So in this account, API is working in the backend. So when you are creating number of instances or S3 buckets or API gateway, whatever you want to create, all the data are stored, uploading in the API. So the API request is made on the backend when the activities occurs. So when we want to run some activities, so the request occur on the backend. So these activities that we carry out in the AWS account can be carried out in variety of ways. For instance, we can use the account using the AWS CLI, means command line interface, and we can also carry out the activity using the software development kit. Here we can see carrying the software development kit or AWS management console. We may use any method here. By using this method, whenever we execute an activity from the account, the backend API is called. So when the backend API is called, an event is generated and the event log is saved in the Cloud Trail. So only when we carry out any activity using the AWS account doesn't event gets created in the AWS Cloud Trail. So AWS account activity we perform the last for 90 days in the same place. It's possible to keep event log in the S3 buckets for longer than the 90 days. The SNS notifications configuring also possible in the Cloud Trail. So using this Cloud Trail, we can also SNS notification can also be used. So using the S3 buckets, we can store all the data more than the 90 days. So the API is working on the backend. So it can send the data whenever we want to activate the activity occurs. So we can activity run using the software development kit or using some command line interface or the management console. So using these three, you can use any of these resources. So this is all about the AWS cloud architecture. So the next is benefits of using the AWS Cloud Trail in AWS. The main benefits are Cloud Trail log file, security and compliance, resources change tracking, alerting and notification, cross account and multi-region support. So first is Cloud Trail log files, means the log file integrity validation is a tool you may use to help with IT security and auditing the procedures. Security and compliance means meeting security and compliance standards is made easier with the Cloud Trail. It supports security, investigation and compliance audits by assisting the enterprise in identifying illegal or suspicious activity through the monitoring AWS action. So security is mainly important to identify the illegal or any suspicious activity through this AWS action. The next is resource change tracking. AWS resources change over time can be tracked with the Cloud Trail. This helps with resource management and troubleshooting by helping to spot configuration changes, authorization changes or resources removals. The next is altering and notification. Business can configure alters and notification for variety of events that are logged in Cloud Trail logs. The prompt responses to urgent situations is made possible by the proactive monitoring. The next is cross-account and multi-region support. Multi-account logging is supported by Cloud Trail, enabling the business to centralize the logging for numerous AWS accounts. It offers multi-region logging, which consolidate log from various AWS regions in one place for centralize the analysis. So the next is, how does AWS Cloud Trail work? How does AWS Cloud Trail work? It's a service that helps you to monitor and the log activity in your account. It provides a detailed record of API call made within your AWS environment, capturing various information like who made the request and what action was taken and when the request occurred and from which IP address. So here we can see the event login, trial creation, event delivery and storage, monitoring and alert, security and compliance, and log analysis. The event logging. So Cloud Trail automatically records API calls made on your AWS account. These API calls include the request to AWS services and resources such as EC2 instance, S3, Lambda, RDS, and more. Each record events include the AMI user and what AWS services action being performed and the timestamp of the event and the IP address from which request was made. So it includes all the details of this login event. And the next is trade creation. So Cloud Trail is configuring the enables Cloud Trail to log events and store them in the S3 buckets for later analysis. You can configuring Trail to log events for specific reason across all the regions, and also by default Cloud Trail log events only for the region in which trial created, and you can configure the multi-region trial which log events across all AWS regions. The next is event delivery and storage. So managing the events involves the operation that manage the resources in AWS, and the events track resources level actions such as object level actions, and also Cloud Trail Insight detects the usual activity patterns in AWS accounts. And the storage means in the S3 bucket, Cloud Trail log has delivered an S3 bucket that you specify when you create the trail. Logs are stored in JSON format, and each log file contains the information about one or more API events. And security and compliance. So Cloud Trail is essential for managing the security and compliance, providing a detailed audit trail of all the action taken within your AWS account. So first, by capturing the API calls, Cloud Trail enables you to track and log the actions for auditing purpose. And then logs and trails are stored securely in S3 with access managed using IAM policy. You can configure the Cloud Trail to log event based on the specific user or roles. And then it supports log file integrity validation, the feature for the audit purpose. The next is log analysis. Once logs are stored, you can analyze and search through them using the different tools. So you can send Cloud Trail logs to CloudWatch logs for centralized monitoring. So allows you to create the custom filters and perform search across the logs. And the Cloud Trail link allows you to perform more advanced querying and data analysis of the Cloud Trail logs, it including the aggregation and filtering across vast log data. So this is how Cloud Trail works. Key features of AWS Cloud Trails are comprehensive logging, audit and compliance, integration with AWS services, multi-account and multi-region support, event history and insights. So let's see one by one. Comprehensive logging. So captures details logs of API calls and activities across the AWS services, providing visibility into actions it's taken by users, applications or AWS services. The next is audit and compliance. So facilitates compliance auditing by tracking the changes to resources and enhancing the forensic analysis of security incidents through comprehensive logging. Integrate with AWS services. So integrate seamlessly with other AWS services like AWS Lambda, S3, CloudWatch logs and CloudWatch events for advanced monitoring and automated response to the events. So the next is multi-across and multi-region support. So support logging and centralized management across the multiple AWS accounts and regions. It providing a unified view of activity across the AWS environments. Next is event history and insights. So provides event history, timelines and insights into API activities, trends, enabling operations, troubleshooting, security analysis and operating the intelligence. So these are all the features of the Cloud Trail. So what is log event in AWS Cloud Trail? A log event is an API call or user activity recorded by the AWS Cloud Trail. So Cloud Trail log provides the detail of action taken within an AWS account, capturing the events triggered by the AWS services, users, and roles. So the types of AWS Cloud Trail events are management events, data events, insight events. Next is advantages of AWS Cloud Trail. So the advantages are security, compliance, troubleshooting, change tracking, integration, customizable storage and returns. Let's see one by one. Security. Cloud Trail records every API call with the help of detect abnormal activity and vulnerabilities. Compliance. So Cloud Trail automatically record the activities which help ensure the compliance with regulations. Next is troubleshooting. Cloud Trail logs can help identify when and why issues occur. Next is change tracking. Integration. Cloud Trail records who made changes, what services were used, and what actions were performed. Integration. Cloud Trail can integrate with other AWS services like CloudWatch to enable the automated responses. Customizable and storage retention. Cloud Trail allows you to specify where to store logs and how long to keep them. So these are all the advantages. So let's see disadvantages. The disadvantages are storage cost, confusion, limited real-time visibility, data volume, and log management. Storage cost. So creating too many trails can increase the storage cost. Confusion means it's creating too many trails can make it difficult to find the events sometimes. So limited real-time visibility. So we can visible the some of these trails. It only provide the limited real-time visibility. Otherwise, it can pay this when you're visiting this. So the next is data volume and log management. These are all the disadvantages, I think. So the use cases, yeah, so use cases of AWS Cloud Trail are security and compliance monitoring, operational troubleshooting, change management and auditing, incident response, and governance and accountability. These are all the common use cases of the AWS Cloud Trail. So let's move to this demo and see how Cloud Trails work.